Congratulations to Nigerians and most especially the followers of the newly inaugurated President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It was a very hard-fought victory, and every participant in that cause deserves acknowledgement. But it will be wrong and insincere without keeping record for the generations to come about the course to the seat of becoming president by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are 4 very important odds that were crossed by this great man before he was able to become the executive president, the Grand Commander of Armed Forces, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The first was the removal of his party chairman at the national level in person of Adams Oshiomhole, sometimes after the 2019 general election, and this occurred in 2020 or thereabout. That was the first odd that was dispelled by those that are standing up opposing the presidential ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Their belief was that once they were able to remove the national chairman of the party, who was believed to be loyal to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they believe it would be easier for them to stop this man from picking the presidential ticket of the party, because they'll be able to manipulate the election primary, that's the primary election, or whatever criteria that will be used to pick the presidential candidate of the party. Thankfully for this man, for his political sagacity, when a caretaker committee was set up to manage the party, the affairs of the party for the time being, before the party will be able to conduct another convention where a new national chairman will be appointed, he appointed, as in Tinubu appointed, his blood brother in person of the then Osun State Governor Adigboyega Oyetola to represent his team. APC, the All Progressive Congress, was formed via amalgamation of various political parties, including All Progressive Congress, Congress for Progressive People, CPC, the NPP, some aggrieved members of PDP, and some other mushrooms political parties. So all these entities that came together to form APC were figured out in the composition of the caretaker committee of the APC when Adam Oshiomhole was removed as the national chairman of the party, in the bid by some members of the party to stop the presidential ambition of this man, Tinubu, from coming to reality. Boyega Oyetola did not fail him. He acted accordingly. And in fact, it could be very difficult for many people to know what role did this man, Boyega Oyetola, actually played in the course of defending the mandate, keeping the mandate, the ambition of his brother, Bola Tinubu, because he was never at any point in time involved in any chaotic moment with the party members or with the leaders of the party. Boyega Oyetola, he was never at any point in time related to any crisis within the party at the national level. And he was part of this caretaker committee. In fact, he was their secretary. This man was able to manage the removal of Oshomole until the party organized a national convention in 2022. And then, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to push a former deputy governor of Osun State, Iyola Omisore, to become the national secretary of the party. He knew very well that it would be suicidal for him to present another southerner as the national chairman of the party, because the principle of the party is that the national chairman of the party and the presidential candidate of that party should not come from the same region, from the same divisions. I mean, either the northern part of the country or the southern part of the country. So, what is the next position in that party hierarchy that can checkmate whatever manipulation that may want to stop his ambition? It is the national secretary, and he put his person, another trusted ally, to that cause in person of Iyola Omisore, to that position. Oh my God, that was one of the magic wine that God has been able to bless this man with, that helped him to actualize his presidential ambition. He had the luck of putting the right people at the right place at the right time. So the second obstacle that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to crush in the course of his presidential ambition was the speculated presidential ambition of former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Yemi Osinbajo was his political son, so to say. He's someone that even if he aspired to become whatever politically in this country, Tinubu shouldn't be a person that will be hearing it from third party. Tinubu should be the confirming source, even for others, to actualize whether what they might have been hearing about the ambition of Osinbajo could be true or false. But unfortunately, Tinubu himself was not sure if Yemi Osinbajo was really aspiring to become president of Nigeria, to pick the presidential ticket of APC, or it was just a mere movement. Like play. Osinbajo declared his presidential ambition in a recorded online video, a recorded video that was posted online just for public awareness. But to think about this, Professor Osinbajo must have been encouraged, pacified, and assured by some individuals who are opposed to the presidential ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the tactics was that what Yoruba calls, you send son of fire to fire. So if they want to destroy you, they can easily destroy you by using your close relative, like your son. They are plotting the political son of Asiwaju against Asiwaju. That is plotting Osinbajo against Asiwaju. It was a very tough game. It was Yoruba against Yoruba. It was a son against the father. It was up to an extent that some people, traditionally, when things like this occur, some people would pacify the elderly one to let go. It almost got to that level that some people would be saying, oh, Osinbajo is his political son. If Osinbajo becomes the president, he is still the president. However, Osinbajo had never at any point in time consulted this man or hint him that he wishes to become the president of this country. Tinubu, like every other Nigerian, learned about the presidential ambition of Osinbajo, firstly as mere rumor, and secondly through the trended online videos. But he was able, Tinubu, to manage his relationship with Osinbajo, Osinbajo's allies, and his presidential ambition. That was the second obstacle that might have stopped his presidential ambition. Thirdly, after those powerful people who are opposed to the presidential ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu failed through the removal of his ally, Adams Oshiomhole, as the national chairman of APC, they failed woefully by setting his political son, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, against him. They now resorted into using the party against his presidential ambition. But that was stopped by the card played by Tinubu rightly during the convention of APC, the national convention where he supported Christopher Omisori Iola as the national secretary of the party. There were a series of meetings where the national party chairman of the APC, Adamu, was quoted, to have pushed for consensus candidate, and their consensus candidate was never Tinubu. At a point, they pushed for Amechi. Sometimes they pushed for Yemi Osinbajo. In fact, they wanted to use Kayode Fayemi as a consensus candidate. But when they knew that, they discovered that none of this could withstand the popularity of Asiwaju, they now resorted to using a northern consensus candidate. That means a northern presidential candidate of APC will be succeeding the northern president of former President Muhammadu Buhari. They resorted to the option of the Senate President Ahmed Lawan. The national party of the national chairman of the party, Adamu, was even alleged to have raised an opinion of endorsing Ahmed Lawan as the consensus candidate of the party. He said it was an order from the president, the former president Muhammadu Buhari. But thankfully, because Tinubu had rightfully played his card, those who at the helm of affairs of the party stood their ground against the option of consensus candidates. And that completely blocked all the obstacles that had been deployed to stop the presidential ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu right at the point of picking the presidential ticket of his party. He went to the primary. That was his only demand from the party, from the president, from anybody in the APC there. He said, let us go to the primary. If he loses, he said, if I lose, I'm going home peacefully. I'll go home happily. But he said, let us go to the primary. And he went to the primary and he won the presidential ticket of the party convincing. After they have failed through the process of stopping his presidential ambition at the party level, he had picked the presidential ticket of the party. They have no option. They will be now. They still don't want him as the president of the country. Why they do? They now resorted to the option of using the government of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, the government of APC, against the presidential candidate of the party. And that was at the optimal level when, before you heard about some speculations that some members, high-ranking members of APC are meeting with our PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. At times you hear some of them are meeting with the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. So in fact, it led to some members, high-ranking members of APC, defecting from APC to PDP. Some of them defected to Labour Party. Some of them even did not leave the party, but did not work for the interest of the party. They worked against the interest of the party. And that was at the peak. When a few weeks to the election, the government led by APC was encouraged to enforce cashless policy. That was the greatest order that might have toppled the presidential ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if not for God and for his political sagacity. People, even up the north, people who have keyed into his presidential ambition started to withdraw their support from him. Not because they don't trust him, not that they have personal issue with the Tinubu himself, but because the party under which he was contesting as the presidential candidate of the party was the one that was inflicting such hardship on the country, on the citizens. The cashless policy was like, in fact, to many people, the severity of pain they went through during the cashless policy was more severe than during the COVID-19 or the NSAS menace. But thankfully, Tinubu was bold enough to, at one of his meetings with the people in Abeokuta, Ogun State to be precise, he dissociated himself from the cashless policy and he stood against the government of his party. He took the right decision at the right time. I could remember, he said, that was the same time the country was going through fuel scarcity that had hardly happened throughout the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. If there is one of the accomplishments of Buhari that we want to praise him for, it was this issue of minimizing, reducing, or in fact, we can say eradication of fuel scarcity, mostly at the peak period. That is during the festive periods where it used to occur in Nigeria. It hardly occurred throughout 8 years, but during presidential election, the cashless policies joined by the fuel scarcity were inflicted on the citizens just to instigate the people against the presidential candidate of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the moment he dissociated himself from such policy, people, at least he was able to regain support of some people, but not all the people that initially supported his presidential ambition. So, for him to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Tinubu was able to crush 4 vital obstacles, including removal of his close ally, Adam Oshiomhole, as the national chairman of his party, APC. Instigation of his close ally, his close political son, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, against him. in the course of picking the presidential candidate of APC. Deployment, or let's say attempt, to adopt consensus option in the course of picking the presidential candidate of APC, whereas it was a target. And the deployment of cashless policy joined by fuel scarcity. Those are the 4 devastating obstacles that this man was able to cross on his way to the Aso Rock. It should be on record. In the nearest future, we may not know the generation that this record will be of use to in the course of making such political decisions. This man was able to play his card rightfully at right time. And his presidential inauguration, as we have seen, has been an historic one. No presidential inauguration in Nigeria has witnessed the kind of turn-up that his presidential inauguration has witnessed today. Presidents of countries, foreign countries, representatives of nations across the world were present. Former presidents of, this is very important, former presidents from different political parties was present. It speaks volume. It means this man played his card rightfully at the right time. And that serves as a very great lesson for this generation and the generation to come.